Welcome to the Grappling Grappling Rewind podcast.
I am Maine.
And I'm Josh, and we're back with the Grappling Rewind podcast fueled by hatred and coffee.
This week on the podcast, we're going to be discussing the IBJJF Nogi Worlds 2017. So on to news. We've just finished watching the Worlds 2017 Nogi for IBJJF.
My eyes are bleeding.
It was, I think I've been awake, and in the last 36 hours, I've probably watched 10 plus hours of jiu-jitsu.
It's a lot of jiu-jitsu to watch.
It's a lot of notes to take, Josh.
I don't think we realized how
many divisions there
how
are.
much work this was going to be to do a really shitty podcast.
We also, we decided to do this podcast on Sunday night, and the Worlds finished about 3 hours ago. Actually, the brown belts are still going now.
Yeah,
but
they're
the black
still going.
belts have finished about 3 hours ago. So we've had to take notes, get everything sorted together, and get to my house to record this bitch.
And hate text each other. Like, God, I don't want to talk to you right now about jiu-jitsu. Can we not talk about jiu-jitsu?
Yeah.
Can you send me a picture of flowers? That would be nice.
I trained with Josh in the morning. We talked about jiu-jitsu. We watched the AJ Agazarm, right? I'm getting
sat there in my underwear
in our gym.
watching AJ Agazarm versus Lachlan Giles. And Maine just sat right next to me and was like, what's going on? Oh, okay. And we sat there, and then we both were like, we should watch this on better screens.
We should go home and be
That
with our
too.
families.
Take a shower, that kind of stuff.
But we'll get to that later. On to news. So we're going to touch on it. Caio Terra wins the Worlds. We'll touch on the match. We'll break down the match. He announced on Instagram after he won the Worlds, that he had retired.
I'm still not sure that he's fully retired. He said, this is my last Nogi Worlds.
Yeah, it was
he
a
didn't
little
say,
weird.
this is my last jiu-jitsu competition.
He said it's
And
a new chapter, is what he said.
Even then, those motherfuckers lie all the time. They're like, I'm never competing again, and then you'll see them in Masters divisions.
Hodger. I'm retired.
No. First of all, I'm not talking bad about that guy. That guy will fuck me up.
He will.
He can say whatever the hell he wants to say. He's retired and then competes the next day. I'm not
I'll
bothering
watch
with
him.
that
He'll be like,
guy.
you still retired, aren't you? Cool, you never unretired, didn't you?
There
Mr.
we go.
Gracie.
Yeah.
In other news, IBJJF has signed a lot of guys recently.
A lot of guys.
And big name guys.
Mikey Musumeci, Keenan Cornelius.
Braulio Estima.
Well, he was always a commentator, so it's probably really easy to be like, hey, come compete for us.
Yeah, they seem to sign. I think they signed him as a competitor, not as a commentator. I think is what the announcement was. I actually didn't look to see if he said that or not, but I assume they signed him as a competitor.
They're picking up a lot of guys. They're paying people, so a lot of jiu-jitsu guys are going to go that way. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. The way to watch it is it sucks on their website. It sucks.
The YouTube stream is usually pretty good though.
It's all right.
The commentary for the last event, I can't say it ever.
ACBJJ?
J9 was really odd. I'm not sure if you had the problem, Josh, where it was out of like one ear and sounded really far away. Was that
No, because I don't normally listen to things on headphones either.
Okay, yeah. So on the headphones, it was like in my right ear and sounded like it was through like a wall. And I'm not sure if they had some sort of audio issue because I know they didn't actually get the commentary until like midway through the first round of the first match. So that was a little weird, but things happen.
I'm not going to complain. It's more jiu-jitsu. Granted, it's more jiu-jitsu that you have to watch and commentate on.
And break down.
It's more jiu-jitsu. It's getting more eyes on it. You don't have to pay for it, which is good.
Awesome.
We will get into that a little bit later when we start ranting about Worlds. But hey, they're signing all these dudes. All these dudes are coming over.
I like their rule set too. They have a really interesting
I like the
rule set.
rounds, the way the round break down. But again, it's keeping some of these guys that were thinking about going into MMA in jiu-jitsu that much longer.
Which is cool for me because
So
I want to watch
thumbs
most
up
of these
to that.
guys do what they do well and not have to punchy kicky their way to a choke.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is, and you see guys, you see some world champion guys floating into the UFC and Bellator, and they have mixed results. And really, I just want to see them grab somebody's lapel and choke them unconscious. So hopefully this will help keep them in that mind frame and not in the punchy kicky, as Maine calls it, frame of mind. And we're going to shout out Junior Ocasio. He is applied for EBI.
15, the featherweights.
It would be awesome. They normally stack a couple of 10th Planet guys on those, so I mean, we can get a few more Unity guys. We can get a bunch of Henzo guys. Whatever. I don't care. Throw him on there. We talked about it last week. He was impressive. He was in there. Let's see the skills.
Let's see him at 145 because he was at 55 in Kasai.
Yeah, let's see him at 45.
So this will have Gio on it as well as
Eddie Cummings. And who knows, probably another qualifier, which that video will come out eventually from 10th Planet. I don't care. Let's more jiu-jitsu. So let's get him on cards. His performance in Kasai made me want to see him more. Hopefully it makes you want to see him more. So again, shout out to Junie. Hopefully he gets on that card. Listen to us, Eddie Bravo. Put him on the card.
So kicking off our breakdowns of the IBJJF Nogi Worlds 2017 out of Anaheim, California?
Anaheim. They kept saying Anaheim, so I'm going to say it's Anaheim.
Yep, where it always is.
Is it? No, I thought it was in Long Beach.
Isn't that where the World Mundials were?
Long Beach.
Josh, I don't know California. I've been there once to LAX.
Walter's Pyramid, Long Beach, California. If I'm not mistaken.
You're probably not mistaken, Josh.
I'm a homer. I haven't really... Well,
moving on to the ultra heavyweight division. We saw Cyborg versus Adam
Saknoff, which they could not say Saknoff.
Yeah, the commentary was pronouncing his name in a bunch of different ways. We've seen him on EBI before. He's a 10th Planet black belt. This was the quarterfinals, right, Josh?
Or this was the semis.
Semifinals.
This was the semis. And this showed the difference in levels of black belt. Like, big time.
Yeah, Saknoff's not a bad black belt. And Cyborg put out an instructional...
Cyborg made him look like a bad black belt.
He put out an instructional DVD on how to rack up points in IBJJF.
Now, that might be DVD extras on Leandro Lowe's DVD. Because that guy's the king of racking up points. Like 45-0. Shit like that. But Cyborg was literally playing. They kept on zooming in on his face while he was smiling and laughing.
And talking to his corner and stuff.
Yeah, Saknoff had nothing. Nothing.
Yeah, so he pressure
Other than he didn't get submitted, which I'm not even sure Cyborg wanted to do.
He didn't really look like he was going for the sub.
No.
He kind of looked like I think at the end of the match, he was up 25-0, and he kind of went, I'm going to ride it out. And at the end, he was going to Neon Belly into North-South. He passed back up. He would get the mount. He just kept going and just kept racking up points. And Saknoff just didn't really have an answer because it seemed like Cyborg had a speed advantage on him, too.
Cyborg just didn't care. Saknoff would regard, and Cyborg would wait the 3 seconds it would take
and pass again
for the position to be established, and then he would just pass again and go to another position. Although he would jump off and then jump back on into certain positions and expect points. It's like, that's not how it works.
Yeah, he was doing a really good job when he was passing of really crushing the knees down and just...
He just did what he wanted. I think it was a joke to him. I can't say for sure. He was very friendly about the whole thing and shook his hand, but he just looked like...
He was messing around.
Yeah.
So that was that match. The Joao. Yeah, I can't say the name. Joao Gabriel versus Jared Dopp. I can get that one, Josh.
Hey, how about that?
So I'm not sure. I missed a couple of the quarterfinals and before that. Did Jared Dopp's ankle get...
I honestly can't remember because my day one experience was not very happy when it came to flow and quarterfinals or anything like that.
Yeah, we'll talk on that a little later.
We'll move on to that later, but a lot of stuff was missed out of anger with the website or just not being there at the time to watch it. But
he seemed to be moving fine, but it was super taped up.
Yeah, but Gabriel later in the day had that weird tape job on his arm, so...
Oh, yeah, that was weird, too.
Who knows? Could be try to psych him out, try to get him to take the ankle, but he didn't.
So the match starts, Dopp's ankle looks messed up. Gabriel just sits and there's no contact, or it didn't look like there was contact, and they didn't do penalty points, which was a little weird, until Dopp gets into the guard, and then the stream buffers.
good old stream buffering, and here comes João Gabriel with 6 points. So
Yeah, so the stream comes back
magic
on.
fucking happened.
And Gabriel's up 6-0, and I went, okay, I hope they show the replay. Actually, it was nice. They at the end of the match, they did show the replay where the points happened.
So according to Maine, by the way, because he was watching this match, at this point, I was trying to watch it while I was in the Apple store helping my wife get her phone fixed. So I'm trying to watch on my phone. It kept kicking me off of Wi-Fi, and I'm a cheap bastard. I'm not using up all my data. But Maine's microwave apparently was interfering with his Wi-Fi, which was the reason why I kept buffering and jumping in between matches.
I don't know if that's true or not, but every time we would turn on the microwave, it would buffer the match. So it could have been the stream. It could have been my microwave leaking and giving me cancer, but I'm not sure. This is an interesting thing happened during this match. Gabriel cut his foot. I don't really know how. Medics came out, taped that shit up.
Toenails.
And then a couple minutes later, like a minute later, there was another weird injury stoppage where the commentators were calling it a stinger. Basically, looks like Dop went for a shot, and then he had like jammed his arm on the hip or something, and like they got an injury stoppage on that. The medics came over and like touched his arm and went, made him squeeze the fingers, like, "Are you dying?" And he's like, "No." And
Again,
then,
shout out to that dude for being a PhD student and still competing at the highest level. Good on you. But yeah, you get one of those stingers, just some yank on your arm. It might be out of socket and then it'll go back in. Whatever. You're trying to get into the finals and put more accomplishments behind your name. So fuck it. Go hard. Go hard in the paint.
So Gabriel's up 6.60, and they're standing now. And Dop goes, fuck it, and jumps a flying triangle and actually locks it up pretty well. He goes over with his right hand and grabs his own shin. They come down. Gabriel basically passes out of it, and then
time runs out,
and Gabriel wins 6-0 over Jared Dop. So in the finals, it was Cyborg versus João Gabriel, and there was about 7 minutes of hand fighting in this match. Eventually, Cyborg has 2 ads, and they each have 1 penalty for inactivity.
For being fucking boring.
And eventually, basically, Cyborg, wins on the ads, and he wins the division. So Cyborg is now the ultra heavyweight 2017 Nogi World Champion for IBJJF.
Yeah, I hate when that happens. I hate when they go around playing handsy and running in circles, and they don't get penalized quicker because of it.
That's one thing I honestly wish that they would take a page of the IJF's rules, where IJF is super aggressive with stalling and like backing up, and even I think Greco has the same really aggressive stalling rules.
Yeah, but if you step forward for a couple of seconds, it sort of erases the backwards movement. I don't know.
I think they need a better thing to enforce stalling and to force activity on the feet, because there was a number of matches in the World Finals today, like Nogi 2017 World Finals, where you had guys that were just inactive on the feet or were doing like touching each other's hands and just not getting anything going and not starting to get anything going on the feet. So that was one of these matches. Not saying it's a bad match, just didn't really have a whole lot of commentary to provide on it. It was 7 minutes of hand fighting, and Cyber wins on an ad.
These are the things we're going to discuss a little bit after going over some of these matches. Again, gripes and things that we think would make it better or worse, depending on how you're looking at it.
So moving on to the super heavy, we had Lucas Barbosa versus Elliot Kelly.
Hulk.
Yep. The Elliot Kelly match was actually really interesting. Basically, it was a Kimura victory. And the way that it was set up is Hulk basically grabbed the Kimura to use it to pass the guard, gets past, jumps, turns the corner, and gets on that really standard Kimura position where his thighs are over the head, and just rips it.
What was great about the match, I think, was the commentary building up Elliot Kelly's wrestling ability. And he is a gritty, hard nose. Like he's got good wrestling. We didn't see it. Barbosa from the start came in super aggressive and weirdly herky-jerky and would just grab for things and try to run people out of bounds, and then he got the takedown. That's where it started before he went for that pass to get the Kimura. And, he wasn't a huge name, Barbosa. Even a couple years ago. You heard about him a little bit when he was in Copa Podio, doing
That's really
his
the
thing
first
over
time
there
you hear about him
when he was a brown belt. But, he's really coming out on his own and making a name for himself. So
And he usually doesn't compete at super heavy. He's usually at, I think he's usually at
medium heavy.
Yeah.
He, I think they wanted to take team points. Atos did, because Hinger's normally at medium heavy, Keenan's at medium heavy, Barbosa's at medium heavy. So you have all these guys stacked up in medium heavy. Two guys are gonna not have a chance to become world champ.
Right.
So
And Atos, I think Galvao and Keenan have done that before too. I think Keenan moved, Galvao moved up.
I don't think Galvao cares where he goes in weight as long as it's not down.
Yeah.
So
So I think Atos has done it before, so that kind of explains. And the commentary staff talked about this, repeatedly.
yeah. Going to the next match, Joao Assis versus Aaron Tex Johnson. It's just an EBI the other week. They took away his heel hooks, so
And his reaping.
yep, not allowed to do that. So that changed up the game a little bit.
A little bit, Josh. A little bit.
A little bit. You got to know the rules. The guys,
I understand, but you have no heel. Well, again, we're stuff we're going to touch on later.
Yeah.
No heel hooks in no gi and no reaping is kind of, it makes a lot of things a lot different, and I don't necessarily think it's a good thing.
Unless you're competing at Naga, you can't do heel hooks in anything that's not the advanced division in no-gi stuff. So
And I think black belt world champion finals match is probably an advanced division, Josh.
hey,
Just saying.
it's they don't like it. They don't
Obviously.
they don't want knee injuries.
The legs are fire. The legs are lava, Josh.
Lava.
So, onto this match. Assis, how do you say his name, Josh?
Joao
No, the other one. Assis.
Joao Assis.
Okay. Assis. Assis
I mean,
is
what are
up.
you going to call him? Ass is? Like,
No, I
it's Assis.
just want to make sure I'm pronouncing it correctly because that's been a historic problem on this podcast, Josh.
It is.
So Assis is up 2-0 in the guard. Johnson can't really sub or sweep from the guard, and Joao is not doing much really to pass. Johnson keeps kind of framing away his face to make space to get the sweep going. At one point, there's a scramble in the guard and back up to the feet and out. And Joao uses a headlock to attempt to pass with 30 seconds and gets stuck in the knee shield.
That's the way some of these matches go. I mean, you have guys that sort of cancel. It's not a blowout. It's not like Assis just murked Johnson the entire time and Johnson couldn't really do anything. He's a black belt. He's out of Unity. He trains with Murillo. He trains with the Meows. He's got bones as a big guy to train with. Sometimes these things happens where one person's game cancels out the other and you hang out and somebody goes up on points or by ads or whatever. And that's where it goes because you have jiu-jitsu canceling each other out.
So that's that match finished. On to the next match, Lucas Barbosa versus Joao again. This is, again, we have some gripes with the commentary, not the commentary, with the broadcast. And this was one thing that was routinely weird is they have everyone's name listed as like first name, last name. But on the broadcast, they use the full Brazilian name. And so it's always first name dot some name that's not listed. It's like their actual last name. It's like not listed anywhere else.
The Brazilians have a bunch of names.
They have 4 names,
Or more.
They only display on the broadcast the first initial and then one last name, which a lot of times isn't
what you're used to calling them.
And what the commentary staff calls them, or anyone calls them. It's like, just show me the whole name. Like, write the whole name out there.
How about if you know these guys go by a certain name, put it there as that? I understand the IBJJF has your full name and has everything on there. I'm listed with my entire name. First full name, middle name, last name. So that's how it's all listed out. So they're going to put it in as how they have it in their system because, that's the smartest thing to do for them apparently. And and it's all listed on the scoreboard, but I think from the scoreboard, whoever's working at Flow putting all that stuff up is like, I'm just going to take the first one and just run with it.
Yeah, that was a weird thing too. If you see the scoreboards, let me speak there. It has the full name, like all 4 names listed on the big board there. But for the broadcast, they just show a section of names. At least give me the 2 names. Give me a first name and a last name.
If you're a jiu-jitsu guy, you know what these guys' names are for the most part.
Yeah, but it's hard to become a jiu-jitsu guy if you have to do the extra legwork.
No. I'm talking about the people putting up the little score and points and time and everything. for flow. Like you know this. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. Don't put up 18 different names. Just put up Joao Assis. They're like, oh no, but that's not his last name. It's, whatever, Flapjacks. And it's like, why does it say J Flapjacks? It's like that's not J Flapjacks.
It's not the name he uses.
J Assis. Come on.
Yeah.
Step up your game.
So that was interesting. The other thing that kind of bothered me was a lot of times, especially for not at the finals matches, but for like the quarterfinals or like the whatever the before quarter is.
Round of 16?
Something like that, yeah.
The round of 8,
if you're looking at guys that you're not as familiar with, trying to figure out, they don't list like the red and the green guy. They just have 2 names up there, and you have to figure out with no commentary and no other information who is who.
You're griping about things that we're not supposed to be talking about until later.
Good point, Josh. So on to the finals match here.
Yeah, on to the finals match. Guess what Hulk did? A takedown. A goddamn takedown. He was a takedown machine all weekend long. Barbosa tries for that throw by, and Assis grabs the foot and keeps the pass from happening. So, yeah, Barbosa just push, and he gets by. And he gets a fucking north-south choke.
Locks it in super quick, too.
The man's got muscles.
Yeah, it was really cool to watch him, the way he switches the hips and then turns. He like leaves a very small amount of space to make the hand transition and the arm transition over, but he keeps pressure with like his shoulder still when he does that. It's a really interesting transition, and he goes from side control to the north-south choke in a split second, and then he not immediately gets the tap, but very shortly after gets the tap, and it's tight.
I don't want to be on the receiving end of his body falling on top of me when he passes. It doesn't look pleasant. Not to say that he's not a pleasant guy. I got to share a locker room with him once, a fight to win when I was way fatter. And he was just having a grand old time singing and doing bottle flip with Andre Galvao and enjoying themselves. So seems like a nice guy, not a nice guy on the mats when it comes to just the way he comes at you.
Yep. So Hulk wins.
Super heavyweight world champion, no gi.
2017. So onto the heavyweight finals. We have, give me the name, Josh.
Roberto Torobos versus Orlando Merida.
Team Lloyd Irving versus Checkmat.
Lloyd Irvin, not Irving.
I'm used to the gas station.
Irvin.
This was another match where there was some issues with the
Stop it. Don't
broadcast.
talk about the bad stuff. Not yet.
It was like 2 minutes of information we couldn't see. There's a stalling penalty we couldn't see. They finally got the timer working, and they paused for a while because I don't think someone started the clock because the ref was super confused. Like, what happened?
Sometimes it can be a shit show. A beautiful, beautiful shit show. Again, as we look at notes, I love when it autocorrects things. So apparently Roberto Torobos' name is now Torrance. Torobos, going for the knee cut and hits with another penalty. So you're at 2 penalties, which means everybody gets their own ad. It evens out. The commentary, Tyler Bishop and Sean Williams commentary, they're bored. They stop talking. They're fading. It's a long day, and there's a lady yelling. It was very interesting.
There was a woman, I think it was for Torobas, who was like directly behind the commentary team on the mat, because this is the main mat, and the commentary staff is right there, and you can hear her very clearly on the broadcast yelling instructions to Torobas, but it's not like really great instructions. It's just like pressure, cut the knee. You're like, yeah, things we know. It's like when I coach someone, I just give terrible advice. That's kind of what it sounds like. I just yell obvious information.
That's good. Mm-hmm. Great. Do a takedown. Good. Like that.
Yeah, kind of like that, Josh. Except, yeah.
Anyway, this is really one that you don't. If you watched it, you don't have to watch it again. If you haven't watched it, you don't have to. It was a long, arduous match. Not a lot of stuff happened. Went to ref's decision. Torobos thought he won, but he did not. Merida wins, and that's really all we have to say about that.
So moving on to the medium-heavy division, Back in day one, a gentleman named Charles Negromonte defeated Craig Jones, and everyone was kind of,
Their
wondering who he
minds were
was.
blown because they
Yep.
thought he was going to win everything. And not
Turns out
saying
that
Craig
heel
isn't a good
hooks
competitor. No heel hooks. You can't.
Stuff that's a little different.
He lost a match 7-0. You can't complain about that.
Yeah, Negromonte's a Hodger Gracie black belt. He's instructor at Hodger's Academy in London.
Yep, and it was him versus Murillo. Again, it's difficult to watch the Nogi Worlds on your phone in the mall, and the reception in there is spotty. So I missed Keenan, who's somebody I enjoy watching compete. I missed Murillo Santana, who is somebody I also enjoy watching compete. But I did get to watch the finals. Murillo triangled Kit Dale. He beat Negromonte to make his way to the finals versus Keenan, who rear naked choked everybody in the absolutes before he got knocked out. But he was on fire. He did mention that he was going to debut a new technique this weekend.
If he did that.
I don't know if he did that either.
Yeah.
If they did, please let me know. Shoot us an
please.
email at thegrapplingrewind@gmail.com.
It's actually Grappling Rewind, not the Grappling Rewind.
Well, you know what I'm talking about. We say it all the time. But grapplingrewind@gmail.com. Happy? Good.
I am happy.
All right. Anyway,
Who's
Keenan
in the
wrestled.
match?
Keenan wrestled.
Which he can do.
Which he can do, which we've seen. The match started with that, and he went to do a single leg, tried to run the pipe, and Murillo went for the neck for a guillotine, and Keenan let go of that leg real quick.
Yeah, you could tell that he didn't want to. Murillo starts to adjust his hands and move up, and Keenan kind of goes, I'm going to let go of this leg and start fighting the hands.
Yeah.
And he does that.
Murillo possesses the deepest voice in all of jiu-jitsu. It's great. You're not 100% sure if you've never heard him talk before. That dude has like a Barry White deep voice. It's awesome. I love listening to that guy talk. If you're on the East Coast, go to Unity and just take a class and enjoy the dulcet sounds of Murillo Santana.
I have no idea how this relates to the guillotine, Josh.
I just want to talk about his voice because it's awesome. But the guillotine was kind of in there, and Keenan, again, had to fight the hands to get out. They pop up. They're a lot of hand fighting, trying to come in. Keenan snags a single and gets it and holds him down, gets awarded 2 points. They start on the bottom. And then, we're getting low on time, and Murillo starts kicking in the engines a little late, tries to go for X. Keenan's got this long, sort of weird surfer stance, trying to beat it.
Yeah, Keenan gets super. That's one thing that's always really surprised me about Keenan is just his legs are so long. That surprised me. It's just he's got some really interesting attributes that let him, guys go to X on him, and he can just keep extending, and he can mess with the angle so that he can balance himself much more easily in that position.
When Keenan was on the East Coast before he became like a household name, he wasn't as lanky as he is now. He was a younger man then, so you can still grow. He wasn't as lanky, and watching him compete and also getting beat up by him as a purple belt years and years and years ago, his legs weren't that much of a something to deal with then as they look like they are now. So, man, it sucks for whoever has to compete against him. That's
Murillo gets
not named Gordon Ryan.
He gets deep in the X, and you just can't get the sweep. And it was really interesting to watch kind of do hand fighting while Murillo's got him extended in the X, and Keenan's just like, cool, bro, I'm gonna be super long and just kind of move you out and balance this out. And he does.
So that's where we go. He gets the legs and almost goes through, gets an ad. 10 seconds left. Keenan hangs out, takes the medium heavy division with a takedown.
Basically 2-0. Moving on to the middleweights. We had Josh Hinger versus Felipe Silva.
And Josh Hinger had just come off a battle with Dante Leon. I missed his name every time, and I would forget how they would say it when they did say it. They had a goddamn war before that, and Michael Lira Jr., went at it with Felipe Silva. And again, it throws me off that Michael Lira Jr. is at middleweight. I mean, again, when I first started hearing about him, he was pretty much still a kid. So start growing up and getting bigger, I guess. All you do is jiu-jitsu and lift. You're going to get all beefy. So back to Hinger versus Silva. Hinger, boom, right to guard. And keeps going for a single leg X, trying to go for the knee bars.
The knee bar was really interesting. He goes for it, but he can't quite get the angle on it. He's always got his hip switched a little far out, kind of, so he can't come around.
Hold on a second. Why am I remembering? No, Silva pulled guard. Why am I saying Hinger pulled guard? Silva pulled guard at the beginning of the match, and Hinger was just trying to pass the entire time. See, too much jiu-jitsu fries your goddamn brain, and you forget who you're talking about. Hinger was on top trying to pass the entire time. Silva pulled guard. And you can't even remember. You're like, wait, what happened?
Well, he was on top in the knee bar. I forgot how we got there, Josh.
Well, because he was cutting the angle trying to get the knee bar.
Been a long day at jiu-jitsu.
I know.
It's been a long 3 days of jiu-jitsu.
It's been a lot of jiu-jitsu.
We've been trying to break down ACB 9 as well for coverage later in this
6 hours
episode.
of like footage.
It's only 5 hours and 20, Josh.
It's like 6 hours, whatever. It's the same thing. Hinger was on top trying to go through, and he was just super aggressive passing through, going for double unders. He got into a weird, he got to double unders, but Silva started to pull the arm out, and he did this cool little thing where he grabbed the bottom of his shin so as not to get pulled through, and then he pinned down the leg. Excuse me. And
yeah, I saw that. That was really interesting. I want to kind of watch that again and play with that.
There's all sorts of cool things that are happening when you're like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. So he keeps going. Hinger ends up on the top, and he tries to go for toe hold from a sort of a knee bar position by sitting on top of the hip. Can't really get it. He almost gets a pass at the very, very end.
Real close. He's
real
almost.
close.
He got the head trap, I think, and he just kind of gets past, but
eked
doesn't.
out and doesn't, and gets an ad for it, and wins via advantage, and is a repeat champion 2016 and 2017 no-gi world champion in the middleweight division. And Hinger is not a young dude. He competed at the Masters and Seniors World, so he's over 30 years old, and he's keeping up with all these young dudes. So it gives me hope.
Another Atos guy getting it done.
Money.
Moving on to the lightweights.
AJ Agazarm versus Lachlan Giles. Again, I was watching this match in my underwear. Not an uncommon thing for me. I get pretty naked pretty quickly at the end of training, and then I hang out my underwear. AJ, the entire weekend, would score a point and then just move around.
Play the points. He was playing the game.
He almost got Darced like 3 times. It just didn't. And AJ beat Lachlan Giles by 2. AJ's been pretty busy on the competition circuit doing SUG and was on Kasai. And so he just kept on moving. And then, Hinata Kanuto, who was a breakout star. Again, the dude's only been a black belt for a year.
Yeah.
Breakout star from, I wouldn't say came out of nowhere. We're just
on the black belt scene. Sorry, as a new guy in the black belt scene.
Too fucking stupid to realize who people were.
He just won Kasai last weekend.
Yep, just won Kasai last weekend.
At 155.
Beating a bunch of dudes. So, AJ and Hanato were the finals, and it was pretty much a repeat of
the match last weekend.
The Kasai match.
AJ is going to be has a little bit of an advantage just with his wrestling background for the IBJJF rules. What do you think about that, Josh?
He doesn't use it to his advantage as much as I think he would. He tried to get in and couldn't really do anything off of it.
Yeah, this is a really odd match from the start. Kanuto moves a ton.
A lot.
And it's just like he's trying to throw him off, but it's not even like active movement. He just kind of like waves his hands in front and then like kind of bobs up and down. It's some kind of
herky-jerky.
Yeah, it's herky-jerky, but I mean, obviously it works well for him, but it's just weird to watch because a lot of the movement is just, it seems like extra movement. Just for the sake of movement.
It sort of reminds me of that weird meme video where that woman tries to say she has like Estonia something, whenever she can run around and she's fine, but as soon as she starts walking, she does that herky-jerky movement. I know tons of people have seen it. You guys are on the computer enough. You're on the webs. And if you don't know it, just look it up and you'll see it and you'll laugh and think I'm a terrible person for thinking it's funny. But
Josh, at the end of the show, they will not think you're a terrible person for thinking that's funny. They'll just go, that's Josh.
that guy's just naturally a piece of shit. So whatever. But yeah, he's really herky-jerky. He's in and out a lot. He throws a lot of fakes without mixing in the takedown as much as you think he would.
Yeah, he kind of throws fakes, but doesn't throw takedowns. And
yeah,
it was weird. AJ was pretty active. He was always going for the low single. So every time they shoot, or AJ shoots, they tend to kind of always end up out of bounds. But
yeah, it does. It can build up. It can. Not saying it always does. It can build up advantage points. But if you're so far out to where you finish 10 feet away from the mat or even 5 feet away from that, they're not giving you anything for it.
Right. A lot of times they were not even kind of getting into the meat of the takedown until they were already past the yellow. And so they weren't getting awarded at the beginning, at least, of the match for the takedowns or the start of the takedown, or because they were so far off of the play area.
Yeah, and then Canuto was racking up ads for these type of things, bumping up and almost getting sweeps or getting those almost takedowns. And that puts him up, and he knows he's up, so he pulls guard. And like 15 seconds later, the medics come, sprinting over. And you're like, what's going on? And they quickly show that Canuto's head is bleeding. They zip over and try to see if it was like a clash of heads. They don't have the angle for it. I didn't see any head smashing.
I couldn't tell what it was. What cuts his head? It's like a really small cut above, like probably 2 inches above his eyebrow.
It was like
his
dead center of the forehead almost. But it wasn't anything that was a big deal. They did what they were supposed to do. They cleaned it up. They cleaned up the area. They wrapped his head like a goddamn mummy and kept it going. Well, they get back up at a certain point and AJ works guard instead. AJ starts to stand up. Canuto disengages just long enough to where it wouldn't be disadvantageous for him, and then he pulls guard. AJ then, of course, starts looking at the ref like, where's my 2 points? But doesn't get anything because
that was right on the line.
And then that's where it ended. And Canuto beats him again, and he wins by advantage and is lightweight world no-gi champion of 2017.
On 4 advantages.
Whatever, it's part of the rules.
It is. It just always bothers me when
it's part of the rules.
When guys win world championships on advantage.
We're going to discuss some of this stuff.
It's like winning by Wazari.
Well, do you win?
You do, but it bothers me.
All right, then shut the fuck up.
Moving on to the featherweights.
Mantovani knocked out Grippo. I'm pretty sure Grippo is not a happy person when it comes to these, like making it almost there and then getting bumped out. Cashinho takes out Silvio Duran, and we get Mantovani versus Cashinho. I want to just say that Cashinho is like a goddamn soccer player. I did not see anything that hit him. He might have been accidentally partially poked in the eye. Not even that hard, but that motherfucker sold that like they ripped out his fucking eye and smashed him in the face with a hammer.
Oh, he did. He sold it well. Like, he had me looking at the replay going, like, what's he get hit with? I mean, he might have got hit. The angle was a little funny.
No,
but
I don't.
Dude,
he just acted it up.
They said it was bleeding, too,
I didn't see any blood.
I didn't either, but I will give him, like, he was touching his face even during the match. Like, he kept touching his face, like touching his face, like touching his face.
And if he poked him in the eye, that shit can suck. I mean, as somebody has received multiple eye injuries,
I got poked this week. It was terrible.
I mean, where I've had to go to the eye doctor.
You were in the goggles for like months, weren't you?
Yeah, I wore rec specs for a while before it started destroying my face, and I just said, "Fuck it, I might lose an eye." Sorry to my cousin who's my eye doctor, who told me not wear my rec specs, but those shits almost broke my nose, and I had a constant cut and black eye for the 3 months that I wore them.
You look hilarious, though.
I'm a fucking funny looking guy to begin with. So anyway, back to this, and Cashinho comes out like nothing fucking happened, which I expected him to, and he goes it goes right back into it, and then boom, he's on an arm lock, quick, and escape. And you go for a toe hold right after that, and you see Kishino keep touching his eye and keeps going, and it put a little stain on the match where he kept doing that, where it felt like he was trying to get sympathy points. I don't know. It bothered me. So, Maine, do you wanna keep going on that one?
So Kishino,
something about cheese, if I'm not mistaken.
Keeps I think twice in the match he does this really interesting pass, and the commentator team brought it up when he does it. He will be in like the bottom of half guard and will like lock his legs and belly down, and then he will like back up on his hands into a pass. It was a really interesting pass. I've not really seen it a ton before. They talked about it. I don't see a lot of guys do it. It has to do something with like the body mechanics of some people basically can't do it. But it was a really interesting pass, and it worked a couple times. He's able to sweep with it.
How is it a pass and he was sweeping with it?
I don't know how these points work.
It was a pass, so they gave him points for it.
So he comes on top for a guillotine, and
he jumped back like 3 sentences in his notes, and he's already lost himself.
My notes say he gets shot, which I don't believe happened.
You never know. The way he was acting, he could have gotten shot.
So Kishino escapes, gets 2 for passing again. And at this point, the match is over on the broadcast.
You don't get 2 points for passing the guard. So he did not pass. Anyway, Kishino is hitting sweeps. It goes back and forth. He's using that really nifty position. That main is another thing that he's going to work on.
I didn't say I was going to work on it. I said it was interesting.
You'll work on it.
Probably.
You're going to work on it. And he comes up. The time is off on the broadcast. The match ends. Kishino is up 4-2. Featherweight world champion. No gi.
So moving on to the light featherweight category.
Zhao Miao, one half of the Kitty Cat brothers.
The one not suspended currently.
Yeah. Versus Lucas Pinheiro. They have competed against each other a bunch. Awesome match. Joao sits guard.
No surprise to anyone ever.
Yeah.
I've never seen him do a takedown. I have actually seen him do a takedown, but
you have seen him do a takedown.
It's rare, though.
Whatever. You know, what is he good at? Guard.
Yeah, he's really good at guard.
Sweep people. That's what's up. Maine was very intrigued by his ears because that's a little footnote in the notes.
They've gotten worse though.
Hey, when you're just smashing heads into each other and just fucking
his ears,
turn
like
it
that
over.
one ear is growing another meow.
When you have a mirror of yourself and all you do is train and sleep on beanbags and play Xbox occasionally and lift heavy things, your ears are going to look fucked up. Like, I'm sorry you can't be about that life.
Josh, I got a real job.
They do too. It's called jujitsu.
You
know, I'm sorry that you have to be a poop scientist, but these motherfuckers don't. And that's that. So Joao ends up, it's a lot of back and forthing with, you know, going tit for tat for sweeps, which always happens. But Joao started coming up into a footlock from 50-50, which was cool, where he was just going at it and then starts to try to bail out to the back. Joao was flinging legs like nobody's business.
It's pretty even for most of the match until Joao finally kind of gets something going, finally gets the leg entanglement that he's looking for, and basically ends up like, he didn't barrel bowl to the back, but the best way is like he's that rolling back take.
He did that crab ride.
Yeah.
He hit that crab ride and then got to the back and started fighting for the rear naked choke. Went straight up like MMA style hand on hand at first and couldn't get it. And then Pinheiro stands up, which sort of confused me.
Why would he stand up?
I don't know. I'd rather try to stay on the mat and fight it than stand up, because that squirrely motherfucker is going to be all over you.
Because he just, as soon as he starts to stand up, he kind of like commits his body weight forward, moves his hands down really slightly, and Joao goes, cool, free neck. Grabs his neck, and as soon as basically...
He just choked him. Good on him.
As soon as he stood up fully, he was just choked, and he tapped. And so
Fairly quickly right after it was locked in.
So Xiao Miao is now your featherweight champion.
Nope, light featherweight. It's got the word featherweight, but light featherweight.
World champion. Moving on to the Roosterweight division, we had Kyotera versus...
Say it.
I just deleted his last name from my notes, Josh.
Say his name. Say the first name.
Toko Yuri?
Oh, where's the R in Toko Yuri?
Tokoyuki?
Tokoyuki Hashimoto?
Is that his name?
Talking about that guy?
Is that his name?
No,
Josh?
I don't think his name is Tokoyuki.
So we get to see Hashimoto last week on ACB 9.
ACB, 9. So in the Roosterweight finals, we had Kyotera versus Tomoyuki Hashimoto.
I'm going to call him Hashimoto, Josh.
Okay, that's fine. Tomoyuki, I'm going to call him that. I'm going to throw you off.
I can't say Tomoyuki.
You just did. Bravo, sir. Tomoyuki Hashimoto is out of Carpe Diem BJJ. Is a tiny little dude, plays Berimbolo, plays the guard.
He's primarily a gi guy.
Hey, whatever, you can still switch. I'm primarily a gi guy, and I've competed a lot more in no gi than I have in the gi when it comes to bigger competition. So you just do what you got to do. Kaio was not having any of this De La Hiva Berimbolo game at all. And Hashimoto was even more props to him for just saying, fuck it. You know, I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to work my game and I'm going to get there.
Yeah, I give Hashimoto tons of credit. He was so close to pass so many times in this match, and he would open his hips up and push his knees and legs back in and stop Kaio at the last second from passing and just regard. And Kaio would move past, and Hashimoto would draw his leg back up. And
then the cameraman would cut away to something that was completely irrelevant.
Yeah, that was weird. At one point, they were in the middle of the match, and they cut away to Kyotera's flags. Like, from his team has, like, flags. And so now the match we're watching is in a very small picture-in-picture window in the corner, and there's a giant flag and a woman from his team holding a giant Kyotera flag. I'm like, okay, this is a later thing you show. This isn't... Or you show it in the small picture-in-picture window. You don't take away from the match we're watching right now because they're doing stuff. They're not stalling. They're in the middle of doing leg stuff. Please go back to that match.
The cameraman was eating a sandwich and was like, hey, this is interesting while I eat this sandwich. I don't know. Making that up. So Hashimoto, again, crazy legs. His knees bent in ways that should not have been bent. Kept going. And Kaio, again, just didn't care. Just was like, move, get out of my way. I'm trying to come through. He's going for footlocks. He's trying to beat up, Hashimoto's legs, kill that flexibility, and just...
At one point, Hashimoto goes to De La X, which is something you don't see a whole lot of guys go to because he's got the longer legs, but he's also, because he's such a leg weave player, he's able to get to that position.
Yeah, but that was the entire match of Kaio just defeating everything that Hashimoto threw at him.
And he get an ad.
And Kaio just racking up the advantages, taking on the Roosterweight No-Gi World Championship and supposedly retiring from competition, No-Gi competition. I don't know.
His post was a little ambiguous, but supposedly he's retiring now. We talked about in the news earlier.
It came out. He posted it on Instagram. People on Reddit were talking about it. I'm pretty sure there's a thread on SureDog already about it as well. Keep an eye out on Tomoyuki Hashimoto because that guy moves. He gave Samir Chantry a run for his money in ACB.
That was a good match. That was a good match last weekend.
And that sort of wraps up what was going on.
For the men's division.
For the men's division. We are about to get into the females division, the female division, in just a second.
Forgot the absolute. So the absolute finals was João Gabriel versus Lucas Hulk Barbosa.
This match was more herky-jerkiness by Barbosa, and João Gabriel's doing Ushimadas to him out of bounds and not getting anything for it. So
Hulk would go for a double leg, and then I think the first one, João Gabriel hits a pretty nice Uchimata off it, but they've
way out of
moved
bounds.
so far off the mat. There's nothing for it. It happens a couple times.
João Gabriel, they even showed in replay him like shaking his head like, nah, you ain't taking me down.
Yeah, at one point Hulk shoots a super good double leg, and João just stuffs it with double unders. It was impressive to watch him stuff that as aggressively as he did.
But he got a taste of his own medicine when he came in, and Hulk, they said he pancaked him. Yeah, that, or it wasn't a cement mixer because he didn't have his head. He just turned him over and just flattened him out and got the takedown for it. And João Gabriel was not happy about that, or the fact that Hulk started moving around the mat a little bit and wasn't really engaging as much. So he got kind of pissed about that. He went to guard at a certain point, and Hulk just hung out and wins by that pancake takedown 2 points and becomes the absolute champion of 2017 No-Gi Worlds.
Moving on to the women's divisions, we're going to start with light featherweight. Patty Fontes, a name we've talked about before, versus, give me the name, Josh.
Livia Gluchowska, who is from Absolute MMA in Australia. So Patty sits guard, and Livia immediately starts trying to come through with the knee cut. We just rewatched it to double check our notes, and I've got my Sharona running in my head right now. So she kept trying to push through, and ends up getting into like a quarter guard. But Patty, being from Checkmat, is probably trained with Lucas Leitch a little bit, comes up into that dogfight position and does that back roll half guard sweep.
Yeah, I know it as a crazy roll, is what I learned it as.
It's Lucas Leitch like sweep, or old school kind of sweep where you roll back over it, whatever you want to call
Basically, your opponent's pushing into you, and you roll underneath them, and then
you come up on top
position from it.
Livia still has Livia grabs a Kimura grip and is fighting that, and Patty wasn't having any of that, and she's been a super active competitor these past few weeks. We've seen her on a bunch of fight to wins. So she comes through, cuts the corner, and nails an armbar. What was really funny was the ref like runs in and does the stop, and neither of them stop because they both know that nothing's happened, and the ref's like, I'm going to pretend that didn't happen. And then Patty finishes the armbar, and the ref, does the stop again, and Patty takes it for the win. Light feather, No-Gi world champion.
Moving on to female featherweight, we have Talita Alencar versus Yasmin Wilson. Seen Talita Alencar, I think, a couple weeks ago on Fight to Win.
2 weeks ago, yeah. And Yasmin, you've seen on the Polaris cards. She is a really gritty competitor out of Hodger Gracie's. She's no slouch. It's not just some random chick that shows up and happens to make it into the finals. She put up a really good fight against Talita.
It was good. So Talita comes out fast, sits guard, close guard as she does. So one thing I see whenever I see Alencar compete is she always comes out super fast. Super fast, super movement, super aggressive.
We talk about it all the time, and some of the times it doesn't work to her advantage because she blows herself out a little bit. She blows up, in pro wrestling speak. She blows herself up. But she's working through that, I guess, or just knows where to come out aggressively. And Alencar, grabs an omoplata, and from there goes for an armbar. And Wilson's arm looked like it just popped out.
They said it like this look. I can't tell. It looked like she might have just turned the angle, but the commentary staff and everyone keeps saying that it popped. And so they said they heard it pop too, which, I'm inclined to believe it popped. But from my angle, it kind of looked like that she just kind
didn't
of
look pretty.
The angle. Oh, it looked like it sucked. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Wilson gets out of that somehow, and Talita goes into guard, and she does this weird move where it makes Talita just go for the calf slicer and comes on top and gets her sweep points. Immediately continues she's known to be aggressive, so she's going to keep going to fight to try to get the subminish. That's finish and submission mixed together. Submission. And comes over the side to, God, I'm fucking up now because I've said subminish. You're going to have a bitch of a time editing this.
It cannot be worse than the one we watched, Sug and EBI live. It can't be worse than that episode.
Fuck it. Fuck it. We'll do it live. Anyway, they keep moving, and Toledo goes for the back, gets her 4 points, and she keeps on the move. She goes to body triangle. Wilson escapes. They come back to the feet. I mean, it was an awesome match to watch. Toledo goes for a scrambly outside single and gets it, and then goes for double unders and tries to get up for the pass, and then tries to go to mount into the sub in the dying seconds. Either way, super aggressive, super awesome match to watch. Toledo Alencar, who's been on a tear, is your featherweight no-gi world champion.
I actually missed the end of this match if it was an 8-10 or if it 8-0 or a 10-0 or more than that to 0. They awarded points, but they didn't seem like they were done awarding points when they took off from the broadcast the points. So I'm not exactly sure how much by points she won, but it was at least 8-0.
Yeah.
Really good showing for her. I would actually recommend rewatching this match. It was a fun back and forth match. But Alencar just ran away with the points. Moving on to the lightweight, we had Heather Rafferty versus Jenna Bishop.
The only all-American female final.
Exciting.
That's never happened before.
Really? Never?
Never.
That's outstanding.
As far as I'm aware.
Josh, that would be fantastic.
Indeed it would.
So this match starts with Bishop jumping closed guard. Bishop scores 2 for the scramble. Bishop gets the go-behind pass. Really nice turnaround and switches the hips to side control. Bishop looks like she knees Heather in the head like twice.
Who gives a shit?
I'm not sure.
It's a contact sport. What I was more amused about is the commentary team is her husband and Sean Williams. And her husband's like, I know he's probably in there clawing at the table trying to yell and giving commentary. Bishop just moves. She goes up. She gets her sweeps. She gets her pass. Right? So she's up 7-2. And then she sort of backs off a little bit.
Which makes sense that you're up. You have a nice commanding lead. You're going to be a little less aggressive. Don't want to fall into the sub. It's just gamesmanship.
Yeah, she ends up almost getting guillotined, but pulls out of it really quick and ends and wins the All-American World Championship there. So wins the No-Gi World Championship in the lightweight division.
7-2 by points. So moving on to the middleweights, we had Catherine Furrow-Perrette versus Raquel Canuto. We saw Raquel 2 weeks ago on Kasai.
Last week on Kasai.
Was it last week?
Last week.
These are all blending together, Josh.
All blending together.
So Raquel comes out aggressive, gets double-legged by Catherine, and as they're going off the mat, Raquel grabs a super hard high elbow guillotine that looks like she's going to finish, and they go off the mat, and so they stop it. So the ref gives her 2 points for that. And then they're tied 2-2. Raquel goes for another guillotine off a shot.
You're going to hear this throughout the rest of the podcast. We are burnt out from watching all of this. So this is going to be cut up so poorly. It's going to be great.
And we apologize for that. We attempt to produce
we try to be professional, but you can tell we're a roaming band of idiots.
Yeah, it's Sunday night at about 11:35. And Josh and I have been up since early in the morning. And so it's a bit of a long day for us.
It's a long day. Anyway, this is, again, another aggressive match. They get reset, and there's a big headbutt from Raquel off the shot. And this is always amusing to hear other people talk about, but the big, giant dread ball that she has on the top of her head because she ties up her dreads.
This is Catherine.
Yeah.
Raquel keeps using it like a little lever.
Yeah.
And keeps like grabbing the top of her dreads and like turning her head when she's trying to get head control. And I think it's perfectly legal.
Is it like that NFL rule where you can grab the
I
hair
don't
if
know.
it's
Actually,
hanging
I
outside of
assume
the
that
helmet?
IBJJF has very
There's no
specific
hair pulling
rules.
rule.
It's
I
not
mean,
hair pulling.
you
You're
can't
not
hair pull.
pulling the hair, but if you're blocking the top of your head where I can put my hand legally with a large ball of hair similar size to your head, I wouldn't see any issue.
I'm taking the grip, goddammit.
Yeah, I thought it was really funny as well. I think this match or one of the other women's matches at the finals, the refs had a very specific hand gesture for ladies. Please put your hair back and please reset your hair. It looks like a little hair tie gesture. I'm not sure if it's an official IBJJF gesture, but both women knew exactly what it was, and the match kind of stopped.
Probably is.
They fixed their hair and came back. I just never have seen the women fix your hair gesture before.
I wish it was like jazz hands in front of your face where it's just like, ooh, and you
Josh
can't
is
see
gesturing
me.
jazz hands right
Yeah,
now.
you can't see what I'm doing because it's audio, and I'm an idiot for doing that. But Raquel wins with 2 ads on a 2-2 tie.
So under the medium heavy results for this event.
None, because nobody was in medium heavy. Nobody wanted to make the medium heavy weight.
Which is 158.
So no medium heavy. So I'm going to say I was the medium heavy female black belt no-gi world champion.
Josh, I don't think you make 158. Just saying.
I could totally make 158 pounds.
Josh, would you walk around right now?
Right now?
Right now.
Oh, after the holidays, I'm like 195.
Just saying. Can't make 158. Within the time frame.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
So the heavyweight division, which has no weight, we saw Jessica Flowers versus Ana Laura
Gonçalves. And that didn't happen because it was a closeout. So Jessica Flowers takes the win. And the absolute was the same thing as the heavyweight class. And Anna, I believe, took that one.
That is correct. Yep.
So Anna took that one. They closed out again. They're both from Gracie Baja. So there were no finals matches for that.
Yeah.
That was a bummer.
Yeah, 1/3 of your female matches ended in a closeout, and 2 of the divisions had these 2 women close out, and so it just bothered me. There's not a lot of competitors for the black belts, and it just bothers me when you get closeouts at the high level because
you're robbed of more jiu-jitsu that we have to watch and make half-assed notes on.
Yeah, Josh, I'm upset.
Plain.
So on to the complaining and bitching section of the podcast.
We saved this so you guys would have to listen to us talking about our ragtag put together of what was going on with
there's so many problems with the broadcast of this event and the way this event ran.
First of all, day one, let's talk about how much the fucking stream sucked.
Yeah, end of day one, it was finally better.
Holy shit!
But the beginning of day one, it was
garbage.
Unwatchable at some certain
Oh my
points.
god, it drove me fucking insane. Where I was trying to watch a match and all of a sudden it jumped ahead 4.5 minutes and I was like, "What the fuck just happened, huh?" And then it would jump back to 10 seconds before the jump. It was very confusing.
We're trying to cover it. We're trying to watch it, and we can't.
It's
It's possible to watch live events that are buffering and don't do it's not like
Flo has to be aware, at least Flo Grappling, the jiu-jitsu one, because I've not really had these problems with the wrestling or any other part of it. It's really the grappling. So I don't know what they're doing, and they have to be aware that the internet, the jiu-jitsu internet, fucking hates them. They need to fix it.
They do a bad job, and they charge for a premium product.
Yeah,
and
that's one of the big gripes, but they're not. It doesn't seem like they're investing more into it. This is the same thing that the people have problems with IBJJF for. It seems, I mean, it's a company, it's for profit, but you're not making the experience better. You're making it worse. They redid the website. It's shittier. It's hard to find matches now. You need to go into results and go one by one to find these matches. You can click on it and you have to wait a couple of days and you hit videos, and the videos, are aggregated in one area, but they're not in any sort of semblance of match order or anything like that. They just throw them on there. So
there's no bracketing. There's just a bunch of matches. So if you want to go find a specific match,
well, this is for anything when they put up Fight to Win or they put up anything else.
Well, they did ADCC qualifiers a couple years ago, last year, and my buddy's match is just gone. He was in the qualifier and he was doing well in one of the trials, and his matches are just gone. And
And that's the other thing is they don't want you to film any of that, and they'll, hit you with cease and desist on YouTube or report your Facebook page or whatever. That's not a way to be friendly with the jiu-jitsu community, and the jiu-jitsu community does not forget about this shit. I mean, look at Metamoris, how they shit the bed and started charging people. The internet went wild. Like, people complained about it a lot. They went after them, Better Business Bureau. They went after the company that they ran their credit card charges through, all of that stuff. If you keep doing this, you're going to end up becoming a product that isn't used at all. You're going to have your people that still use it, and their people are going to, fuck, I have to pay $25 for 1 month just to watch the Worlds or whatever, because they don't want to spend $150 to just have it for a year and have an inferior product. I want Flow to succeed, but they need to work on things to be better for the user. You can't tell me you reworked the website and you made the website harder to navigate.
Like, significantly harder to navigate. Like, not like a little bit, but like it's hard to find things. And it's like, you show jiu-jitsu and jiu-jitsu matches. Like, you should have a search system that can do that.
I'm going to guarantee you that there are not a whole lot of astrophysicists in the jiu-jitsu community. So you don't have Neil deGrasse Tyson's all over the place able to whiz through this website with ease. Most of us are just regular dudes or ladies trying to figure out a website and try to get things and trying to consume. If you want us to consume as much as possible and use your product as much as possible, make it user friendly.
The other thing that bothers me a ton is a lot of the matches, like even the quarterfinals, like the matches with the big names, with the guys that have made it through these big brackets at black belt, the camera angles are super terrible. So I'm looking at a guy at the end of a mat, far away from a camera with a low angle camera, and I'm trying to figure out what this world class competitor is doing with his hands. I'm like, I can't tell what he's doing. Like, I can't see the match that I'm trying to look at. And that's partially why on this episode we didn't cover a ton of the quarterfinals, because some of them are really, really hard to watch.
Unwatchable.
We're gonna have to go back, and if I want to go watch them, go back and like spend serious time looking at, okay, where is he? Okay, what's he doing? Because you can't see it.
And that's the other thing too with even the lower belts, blue through brown, where you're not allowed to put that on Facebook or YouTube. You'll get hit with a cease and desist. You'll get reported. It's like, well, what the hell? I have to pay for your site now to watch any of this stuff,
or to show people my matches that are not posted.
Again, be more friendly to your consumers. Don't dick your consumers over. I understand you're trying to make money off of a product, but don't dick your consumers over, because they will turn on you and then you will have nothing.
But also, don't take the guys over that are in the matches that are unpaid, that are like a blue belt guy. It's like, okay, he can't film his match now because you have his match, and he can't now show his match and have that because you have that, and you're now charging people to watch his match.
People are still going to record that shit. They're going to figure out ways how to record it, and you're not going to stop them from recording it. You can see there's no recording. If I just bring my iPad over and you just think I'm on my iPad and nobody's really watching, I can hit record on that and record my match. And if you touch my personal property, then we have an issue because you're touching something that does not belong to you. So that's our gripe with them, and they're just you're getting all this money, supposedly. You're making a decent chunk of change.
And the product is just not there for the amount of money. And
invest in your system. There should not be buffering issues with your streaming.
There should not be production issues.
There shouldn't be production issues.
Which I think is an IBJJF issue.
It's some of their other shit, whatever's going on. It's annoying is what it is. And it makes you not want to use the product, or it makes you want to borrow your buddy's password to Flow Grappling. Be like, I don't feel like paying for this anymore. Can I watch it when you're not watching it? Yeah. It's like sharing your Netflix login. Not everybody has Netflix. Why? Because you can have up to like 4 accounts on Netflix before they get all pissy about it. People are going to start doing that. They're just going to start sharing accounts because they don't want to pay for it. And again, it's going to drop your subscriptions. It's going to drop whatever. Invest back in it, and the people will invest back in you.
So moving on from gripes about Flow to gripes with IBJJF.
And everybody's got problems with them for some reason or another. You know,
Pick your reason, Josh.
Pick your reasoning, and it goes on. You know, it's a for-profit company, so don't say you're the best thing in the world and you're for-profit and you're not doing anything for the community that you're servicing.
We have a bunch of we've got people, men and women today that were crowned world champions. They got $0.
Hey, they got like a $10 medal and a bouquet of flowers.
Awesome, Josh.
They had to spend at least $1,000 on flowers, okay? At least $1,000.
Awesome. And unless you were a former world champion, you had to pay to register.
Yep.
And you had to pay for membership card.
Yep.
And you had to pay to get spectators in.
Yep.
And you had to pay for a kai, which is...
I didn't even catch that, so I'm glad I didn't say yep to whatever the fuck you were just talking about.
A kai.
What the hell is that?
Isn't that the fruit thing?
Oh my God, you're a moron.
Acai.
It's acai.
Yeah, I forgot. Give me a second.
Jesus. There's a lot of things that they can invest in. They're making money hand over fist. Like you gotta pay. You gotta pay people more.
One paid tournament a year. New York Pro 2.
Well, no, a couple then. Like they do a 3 couple. Or 4.
They do a couple paid.
They're not
tournaments
paying
a year.
out a whole lot of money in the scheme of things. The amount of money that they're taking in, and that's not factoring in, you know, their costs of renting out places, so on and so forth. You're making your money back renting out these places and carrying your mats to wherever. Invest more in it. Continuously bring people in to adjust your rule set to make jiu-jitsu more exciting, to make the jiu-jitsu people stay in jiu-jitsu. Make it worth their while, not just running an academy or traveling across the world to do seminars, which sounds fucking awesome to me, but that doesn't mean you're making a shitload of money either. So help invest back into the community that you're servicing.
But this has been a thing they've talked about for how many years?
Who knows?
We found, 2002? This has been an issue probably from 2003 on.
IBJJF?
Yeah.
No, they've been around longer than that. The World Championships started in the 90s, so...
Right.
You know, they've been doing this for years, and again, you're saying you're the best thing, but, you know, you're not helping your community out at all. You're not really evolving the rules
at all.
The
lights are still fire in IBJJF, Josh. If someone were to push their knee across someone's center line, it would explode every knee in the convention center, Josh. They have to DQ you aggressively.
They changed the rules on that a little bit to where it's like they're not going to instantaneously. They're like, nope. I don't care if it was an accident or not. You're DQ'd. They changed that a little bit, but they need to do an overhaul of the rules in general.
You need to have heel hooks and no-gi at a world championship level.
At the black belt level, yeah, I think, you know.
Like, how is that even? It's 2017. How is that even a discussion we're having? Like, oh, you can't do this move. It's too.
And you're saying it's injuring something or another.
That's the point.
People get injured from knee bars. People get injured from foot locks. Look at Hamalo Bahal's foot from this year's Worlds. That shit got fucked up.
Bad.
You know, it was hanging in a goofy position. People get cuts and bruises and their arms broken. And
it's a contact sport.
This shit's going to happen. A heel hook, if you're smart, and you can only do it, you can put it as only a no-gi. Like, this heel hook is only a no-gi thing. Fine. It adds another thing to it. If you don't want to have reaping still, okay, you can still heel hook without the reap.
But my problem is, at a high level, like, if you have a no-gi event and a advanced or black belt no-gi event and you do not have reaping and heel hooks, it takes away so much from
you can heel hook without the reap.
You can do it. Yes, you can. Definitely. 50-50.
You can. And I also think that it's not going to be that much of an issue if you have the reap in the competition, because most people are smart enough not to just hang out. Like,
at a black belt level, it shouldn't be a question. If you're competing for IBJJF at a black belt level, you've determined, okay, I'm going to compete at a high level at black belt. I'm not just going to be a regular hobbyist black belt that goes in. Like, you understand these guys are serious. They're good.
They're going to try to mess you up. Yeah. And that's something they need to, but the rules in general, you know, some things need to be added. Yes. Some things need to be taken out. Yes. but they need to be revamped and looked at almost on a yearly basis, if not yearly, every other year, biannually, whatever.
I just think it's a problem when you have a rule set that's not advancing. It's not or at a snail speed. You have a rapidly evolving
the
sport.
The rules are not geared towards submission, which causes an issue with you personally.
Yeah.
You want to see the submission. Hey, I want to see the submission too.
I want to see submission. I want to see the guys working for a submission. We had a bunch of matches. We had a bunch of guys that today were crowned world champions that did not attempt a single submission, like a real submission, in their finals match. And that's, again, the level of the competitors. But no one's going to go for a footlock from if you can't pass the guard, because if that guy comes up, he gets 2 points for a sweep.
It's gamesmanship, though.
It is
you got to
gamesmanship.
work. You have to work within the rule set that you are given.
But the rule set,
and we have text message conversations about this stuff, and I brought up Wagner Hosha. Oh, look, we're bringing Wagner up again. He games the EBI rules perfectly for him.
yes,
He takes it to overtime almost every single time and wins in overtime. That doesn't gain him anything financially. And it, what's happened the last time? EBI wise, he didn't get any money, and then he lost.
Combat Jiu-Jitsu, he won.
Yeah, he got some money for that, but still, you can't always. Therein lies the issue. Is it a financial thing, or is it a respect thing? Because then these guys don't care. If it's all about the prestige of having this title, then that's all there is to it. It doesn't matter how they get it, they get it.
Right.
Same thing with world championships. If you win it on an ad or you win it by submission, you have that behind you.
Yeah, I understand that. And I think the merit and the prestige of the thing will always hold. I'm just saying, are we really seeing the best submission grappling in the world under this rule set?
We're seeing the best submission grappling in this rule set. Same thing with when it comes to ADCC. You're seeing that one's a little bit better, where I feel it's the top tier of no-gi competition.
ADCC also looks at their rules and changes their rules every 2 years. Every time they have an event, they have big rule changes, and they go, okay, what worked last time? The Sheik looks at it and goes, what didn't work this time?
The Sheik doesn't look at it. The rule committee looks at it, and even then, those guys sometimes don't even know the fuck they're refereeing about. So
yeah, I agree.
Some of those guys don't even know what they're doing. You need to continuously evolve your rule set, and you have to make sure that everybody that's at least helping you run the tournament knows what they're doing. Shout out here, US Grappling does that. They run referee certification clinics all the time, and they make sure that you're up to date on your rules and you know how to score and all these things, and you're not flustered by, Joe Schmo yelling at you in the corner saying you don't know how to ref when they're asking for sweeps off of reversals. And it's a continuously evolving thing. And it's like, here, there's this. Have any questions? Ask these. Let's go over this. Go to the rules meeting. Go to the rule clinic. Do whatever. But you have to evolve it to make it still exciting. You're going to have those matches where it's like, oh, God. I've been on the receiving end of a white belt, no time limit, sub-only match where it was like an hour and a half long. I've also been on the receiving end of an hour and a half long brown belt match because it was sub-only, true sub-only, not like, hey, we've got a set time limit. Literally, this match will go until somebody taps.
Or quits.
An hour and a half, and there have been longer matches.
The longest is like around 3 hours.
3 hours for them, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure that's the best rule set either. I'm just saying, watching
different
some of
strokes,
these matches,
different folks.
But some of these matches today, I don't think we saw the best no-gi jiu-jitsu in the world. I think we saw
the best IBJJF no-gi jiu-jitsu in the world,
which I think has some significant problems that are being more and more highlighted by. You look at ADCC, like you had good guys this year that were like, oh, I'll go to ADCC and like did the trials and then they didn't show up to the Worlds.
Some of those things is a money thing, and this was brought up earlier in personal conversation where Maine and I were talking about Manshur Kara, Munch, where he was like, I didn't do this because there's no money behind it.
He went to Kasai. He said he had some sort of injury, and he's like, yeah, there's money in Kasai. I'll do Kasai, but I'm not going to do Worlds because it's a pride thing, is what he said. And there's no money in it.
And that's what rubs me the wrong way. about things where people that, and don't get me wrong, Munch is a name, people know who he is, but what has he accomplished at the black belt level? I'll take that silence as the answer. It's like he's okay. You've won ADCC trials. That didn't go anywhere. You've done all these other things. You've taken things at brown belt. He may or may not be. Nope, I don't think he has a world championship at black belt. Nogi wise, he's a pan champion at black belt, but we're in an era of what have you done for me now, and he hasn't done much for me now. And don't get the whole Dylan Dennis vibe where you become like a giant dickhead. Same thing with AJ Agazarm. Don't go down that route of trying to be the bad guy of jiu-jitsu on purpose because it thinks it's going to create controversy and get you more things. People are going to think you're a dick. So everything needs to be evolved and changed and looked at continuously to make it better. But the real thing is these companies need to, these events, these bodies, whatever we're referring to, they need to invest back into it to help grow the jiu-jitsu scene. You can pause it. I see you hovering.
So that ends our complaining section of the podcast.
Yeah, I mean, talk to us. Get interactive with us. Let us know what your gripes are. We're fairly good at responding. We both have phones. These notifications pop up and let us know. We'll respond back to you. We have the email. We'll respond via email. We'll talk about it on the podcast. If you have a gripe, let us know. If you think we're stupid for having this gripe,
also let us know.
Let us know. Like I'm not afraid of being called a retard or an idiot or anything like that because it happens all the time. So, get interactive with us. But this pretty much wraps up the season for competition. We're moving into a drought, which is beneficial towards us a little bit because it gives our brains a chance to relax and not consume as much. And I'm saying that right now. And next week we're going to be doing a top 10 match, personal top 10 match, what we thought were the best 10 matches of 2017.
We got some good ones planned too.
Yeah. Where it's getting into that season of, if you're older, your kids are out of school because Christmas time. If you're going on that last minute vacation, you're going, your gym's taking a break. By the way, if you're on the East Coast near the Maryland area, by all means, stop by Baltimore BJJ. We are opened a lot around the holiday times. We will probably somebody will be doing a Christmas open mat. So, if you're in the area, swing by. We're super friendly and open mat type stuff. And, just train through that. But again, we're going to be doing top 10 matches of Josh and top 10 matches of Maine. You might hate them. Again, send in what you think we should be looking at as the top 10 matches. Also, I'm going to give them a quick shout out because I think this is a company that's doing something that's giving back to jiu-jitsu. Sink Swim Jiu-Jitsu Collective. Right now, t-shirts, stickers, doing interviews, video interviews. They're trying to move forward a grassroots kind of thing with jiu-jitsu, so support them. They have a Reddit thread where they'll send you a sticker if you send them a message, and one of the people that runs that is going to hate me for telling you to do that, but it's getting them out there. They have some pretty cool designs. They have the website, which is sinkswimjujitsu.com, if I'm not mistaken. We can edit that out and I can put in something, but I'm pretty sure it's sinkswimjujitsu.com. Anyway, that's it for this week's episode of the Grappling Rewind. We will be back with our top 10 next week. As always, you can email us at thegrapplingrewind@gmail.com. You can check us out on Stitcher, iTunes, YouTube, and pretty much anywhere you can find
Facebook.
podcast. We're on Facebook, Grappling Rewind,
Instagram,
Grappling Rewind,
Twitter.
Grappling Rewind.
Reach out to us on social media. If you got something you want us to cover, you want to clarify, we are here.
You want to tell us we're idiots. Hey, let us know.
You want us to pronounce your name correctly?
Let us know. Subscribe on the YouTube page. Leave us a review.
Helps us out a lot.
It helps us out. And, it eventually will help you out. We like to give back. We're doing this as something that isn't done. So help us help you. Again, as always, I'm Josh.
I'm Maine.
And this is the Grappling Rewind podcast.
We'll see you on the mats.